What does the 79th Tony Awards have in common with blockbuster movies and pop stars? I'm Leah, excited and ready to dig into a night where theater met mainstream sparkle, and I'm very here for it.
I'm Garrett, curious as ever, and ready to explore what made this Tonys feel like, extra cinematic.
All right, here's where we begin. The topic on the table is the 79th Tony Awards, the 2026 edition at Radio City Music Hall in New York City. Think Broadway's biggest night with a few unexpected twists.
Let me paint the picture for you. First time I ever sat in a Broadway house, I was honestly overwhelmed in the best way. Walking in, every detail felt intentional. The set looked like it had its own heartbeat. The orchestra was tuning, and there was this hush before the lights went down. I was a woodworker's apprentice back then. Details and joinery were my world, and suddenly I'm clocking how a set frame corners into a perfect illusion. That night flipped a switch. I started following the Tonys because it was like getting a tour through the most artful builds of the season. You know that feeling when someone pulls back a curtain and says, "Here are the people who made the magic." That's what hooked me. The awards gave me a map for the craft, from acting to sound design, and I could finally name what I was feeling when the lights shifted and the floor vibrated. That was the gateway from casual theater goer to, yeah, I read nomination lists for fun now.
Let's open the book on this. The Tony Awards are the highest honors in American theater. If the Oscars celebrate film, the Tonys celebrate live Broadway. They recognize everything from marquee categories like Best Play and Best Musical to deep craft awards like Scenic Design and Orchestrations, the musical blueprints that decide what instruments play which parts. The 79th Tonys had all the core theater excellence and also this unique blend of pop culture, cross-genre performances, celebrity presenters, and a host known far beyond Broadway. In short, it was a Broadway ceremony with arena concert swagger.
Here's a thought I've been turning over. Broadway eligibility is kind of like a gated garden. To be in the Tony conversation, you've got to open within a specific window and in one of 41 designated Broadway theaters. Those houses are approved by the Broadway League and the American Theater Wing, typically 500 or more seats, within the Broadway District or Lincoln Center. It's a fixed club that keeps comparisons fair year to year. For the 2025 to 26 season, the window ran from April 2025 to April 2026. That deadline shapes the calendar because producers time openings for press and voter attention. You'll see a flurry in late fall and early spring. It's like trying to land a plane on a very specific runway. When shows do open, the Tonys Administration Committee judges granular stuff. What counts as an original score, whether a show is a revival, whether a role is lead or featured. That level of detail can reroute a campaign. Then, in May 2026, nominations dropped, which is the big pivot. Marketing surges, casts hit talk shows, and the whole ecosystem starts buzzing.
That's fascinating. So nominations day. We had a very balanced slate. Shmigadoon, which began life as a television series from creator Cinco Paul and was adapted for the stage, scored 12 nominations. The Lost Boys, a stage adaptation that reimagines a known screen property, also landed 12. Ragtime, the sweeping American musical revival, had 11. Cats, the Jellicle Ball, a bold conceptual rethinking of Cats, had 9, right alongside Death of a Salesman, an Arthur Miller classic revived with a distinct design vision. Richard O'Brien's The Rocky Horror Show had 9 too. Even with a cult following, nominations don't always predict wins. Two Strangers, Carry a Cake Across New York, a contemporary two-hander musical, had 8, and Oedipus, the classical tragedy revival, had 7. You could feel the season was crowded with strong identities. Nominations weren't just about titles, they telegraphed style. A show like Cats, the Jellicle Ball getting direction and choreography nods told voters they were embracing reinvention as much as nostalgia.
Let's dig into this. The telecast itself leaned into that blend you mentioned. Pink, the Grammy-winning pop star known for high-flying arena shows, hosted, that's a statement, pulling in broader audiences. Megan Thee Stallion, the chart-topping rapper, presented Best Featured Actress in a Musical. Sting, the rock icon, presented Best Revival of a Musical. And there were comedy and TV heavyweights like Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Maya Rudolph anchoring major categories with wit. The production numbers were built for maximum contrast. The Schmigadoon Ensemble gave bright, satirical Golden Age energy. Ragtime rolled out its prologue, which functions as a choral engine room introducing intersecting American lives. Cats, the Jellicle Ball, leaned into fashion-forward costuming and movement-first storytelling. Titanic, a pop parody musical, riffing on Titanic hits like My Heart Will Go On, unleashed campy vocals. Even the anniversary nods were smartly chosen. A 50th for a chorus line with Rachel Zegler singing What I Did for Love. A 30th for Rent with Leslie Odom Jr. performing Without You during In Memoriam. Chicago's 30th revival celebration with Queen Latifah and a parade of stars doing Fosse classics, and the Book of Mormon at 15 with a creator-led intro. That's Broadway history braided with mass recognition moments.
Switching gears just a little, let's talk wins. Death of a Salesman, directed by Joe Mantello, dominated with 6 awards: Best Revival of a Play, Direction of a Play for Mantello, and a Design trifecta. Scenic design by Chloe Lamford, lighting by Jack Knowles, and sound by Michal Suleiman, plus Laurie Metcalf's featured actress win as Linda Lohman. That signals full creative cohesion. Ragtime took Best Revival of a Musical. Joshua Henry won leading actor as Coalhouse Walker Jr. Casey Levy won leading actress as Mother, and Kai Harada won sound design of a musical. Schmigadoon won Best Musical plus Book and Score for creator Cinco Paul, and orchestrations for Doug Besterman and Mike Morris, orchestrations being how the music is arranged across instruments to get that color and punch. Cats, the Jellicle Ball scored direction of a musical for co-directors Jailon Livingston and Bill Roche, choreography for Arturo Lyons and Omari Wiles, and costume design for Queen Jean, known for bold, identity-forward silhouettes. The Lost Boys picked up featured actor in a musical for Ali Louis Borzgi, featured actress for Shoshana Bean, scenic design by Dane Laffrey, and lighting design by Michael Arden and Jen Schriever. That's performance plus environment in sync. In plays, John Lithgow won leading actor for Giant as Roald Dahl, and Leslie Manville won leading actress for Oedipus as Jocasta. Those are powerhouse anchors.
Why did the awards spread out like that, instead of one show sweeping everything? It's tempting to expect a juggernaut, but this season's distribution tells a story. Voters seem to reward distinct strengths. Schmigadoon for writing and musical architecture, The Lost Boys for pairing dynamic performances with a cinematic-style design language, Ragtime for revival craft and star turns, Salesman for a fully integrated design and direction vision. When categories are deep, cohesion and clarity become tiebreakers. A revival that re-argues a classic for right now, a new musical that's dramaturgically tight, dramaturgy being the storytelling logic and structure, and a design package that feels necessary, not decorative. That's how you get a night where several different productions each take home 4 or more, and one play revival leads the pack.
Okay, let's move on to a spicy question. The producing team changed this year. For years, the telecast had been produced by Ricky Kirshner and Glenn Weiss at White Cherry Entertainment. People also often saw Glenn Weiss as the telecast director. In 2026, production shifted to Raj Kapoor, Sarah Levine Hall, and Jack Sussman. Producers are the architects of the show's overall plan, pacing, segment mix, talent bookings, while directors focus on how the broadcast is captured moment to moment. There's sometimes confusion because credits vary year by year. Real talk. Did that leadership change affect the vibe?
I'm down for that debate. I think it opened doors. You could feel a pop-forward approach in the opening number. A leading lady marmalade-style mashup with Pink, Neil Patrick Harris, Shoshana Bean, Marla Mindell, Ann Harada, Christiani Pitts, Lee Michelle, June Squibb, Megan Thee Stallion, plus Broadway inspirational voices. That's built to say, hey, this is a concert and a ceremony. Settle in. The multi-anniversary framing, a chorus line at 50, Chicago and Rent at 30, Book of Mormon at 15, felt intentional, like a bridge to lapsed viewers. Those choices are classic producer fingerprints. Widen the tent without losing the center. So yeah, new leadership, new latitude, that's pretty cool, right?
I totally get where you're coming from. I also wonder about tradition. The danger is that if you lean too hard into pop spectacle, you might crowd the more intimate craft moments, like when costume design or lighting design wins deserve breathing room. I loved seeing Jeff Moshi win Best Costume Design of a Play for Fallen Angels. That's a comedy of manners where fabric and silhouette sell the joke. I never want those tributes to become speed bumps. So my gentle worry is balance. Can we celebrate the telecast as entertainment and still make space for the artisans who hold the architecture of live performance together?
That's a solid point. The good news is the expanded pre-show on Pluto TV, the Tony Awards Act 1, hosted by Laura Benanti and Titus Burgess, helped surface more categories in a national format. If the main broadcast is the marquee, the pre-show becomes the gallery where you can actually linger. Ideally, producers treat those together as a single experience. And for clarity's sake, I like when telecasts explicitly note the difference between producers and the show's director. It helps audiences see who shapes what. But yeah, I think this year mostly threaded the needle. Big tent up front, serious craft celebrated across both hours.
Time to move forward to pop culture reach. You could feel it in the presenter list alone. Megan Thee Stallion, a Grammy-winning rapper, Sting, the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, an Emmy magnet from comedy, Queen Latifah, a music and screen icon. When those folks introduce theater, they tug new viewers into the room. That visibility can move tickets, and honestly, it invites future collaborations. Which sparks a question for me. If one winner were to make the leap to film in the near future, I'd pick Liberation, the Best Play winner. As a contemporary drama with thematic urgency, it could translate to a film or limited series while keeping that heartbeat of live theater intimacy. I'd love a film version that preserves the stage's precise dialogue rhythms, shot like a chamber piece with minimal cuts and long takes.
I could get behind that idea. And I'll toss in a curveball. Schmigadoon already proved it can cross media, starting on TV and now thriving on stage. There's a path for a filmed stage version that leans into the wink-at-the-audience musical language, record it in a Broadway house with cinematic lighting, and keep Doug Besterman and Mike Morris's orchestrations front and center so the sonics pop on streaming. That hits different if you treat the theater as a character.
Here's something to get us started on a what if. What if Broadway productions were held globally, not just in New York? Imagine eligibility extended beyond those 41 designated Broadway theaters to places like London, Tokyo, Sydney, Lagos. What changes?
Wild how that works out in my head. First, the Tonys rely on standardized criteria, house size, union agreements, location, so voters compare apples to apples. If you go global, you'd need a shared rulebook across labor contracts, rehearsal norms, even pit sizes. You'd also redefine the term Broadway. It's currently a geographic and institutional label. A global version might become a new award entirely, or a Tony International wing. The upside would be massive cultural exchange. Imagine design vocabularies from different traditions colliding. The risk would be voter bandwidth. If New York-based voters already sprint to see everything before the April cutoff, adding continents makes that sprint a marathon.
Let's dig deeper into this one. My heart says a global Broadway would be a beautiful cross-pollination. Directors reframing classics through new lenses, costume designers blending textiles and silhouettes we don't often see on 45th Street. But I can't ignore the infrastructure question. Nominators and voters would either need regional branches or robust filmed capture standards, which raises fairness concerns. A live show in person isn't the same as on camera. Also, the timeline. The current eligibility window keeps the field focused. Stretch it worldwide, and openings would never stop. Maybe the answer is a sister award, honoring global excellence with categories that respect local industry norms, while the Tonys remain tightly focused on New York's 41 houses. 2 lanes, complementary, not competing.
Yeah, that checks out. Keep the Tonys' precision while building new bridges. In a way, this season already modeled bridge building. Pink as host, Megan Thee Stallion and Sting as presenters, anniversary tributes that made space for both memory and discovery. And the winner's circle told us something about the art form's center of gravity right now. Salesman showed how integrated design can reframe a classic. Ragtime proved revival excellence stands on the shoulders of star performances and meticulous sound, Schmigadoon said new writing can come from anywhere if the stage translation lands. And the Lost Boys reminded us that performance plus design synergy can carry a fresh adaptation across the finish line. That's the map I'm taking into the next season.
And that's where we'll leave it for now. Stay curious, keep an ear out for those craft details the next time you see a show, and let the big nights point you toward the hidden builders behind the scenes.
So there we have it, Broadway's big night with a blockbuster shine. Thanks for hanging, and yeah, let's dig into more art next time.